Good day, Coach Brian here, and today I'm going to share with you something that you may have ran into yourself. I was sharing a story with a friend of mine about how I had walked out on some work that day, and my friend has known me for a long time, and he says to me, "Brian, you don't work well with others." And I've heard that before, and I don't think it's true. And so I'm going to go into the type of people that I don't work well with, which happens to be a lot of people, but there are people I can work with. So one of my issues with that statement is, if you and I are on a team, I'm going to add a lot to the team. Often end up producing twice as much work as another person in the same shift. Sometimes I put out more than 2 people during a single shift, and many of my bosses have noted that. Not only do I have a high output of productivity, but the general atmosphere of the place changes when I come around. I add a really good mood to the atmosphere, and everybody seems to be positive. And you are going to hear a lot about me today, because that's who I'm talking about. I don't really like to tell people how they're going to feel, or by practicing things my way, or if you try things my way and it works out for you, it doesn't work out for you, I prefer that you express that from your point of view. And so due to my productivity output and my ability to change the general mood of the place, I do well, especially amongst like high functioning performers. The problem I ran into is it's hard to find people who truly appreciate like what I bring to the table, even when I bring high input or a great mood. You'd think that most people's intent it would be to recruit the best team, give them the best atmosphere to win, and compensate them in the best way possible. This is rarely true. Most people want to do things their way, and it's the way it's always been done. And to deviate from that causes stress and anxiety for them, even if you are performing well. Performing well and deviating from the norm causes stress and anxiety. It's hard to work with people who have stress and anxiety as a storyline. It's like the story of their life. It's what they tell people. And if a person comes in and helps them relieve that stress and takes away some of that anxiety, they start to kind of lose an idea of who they are, and that gets very uncomfortable. Most people, though they say different, are serving that ego rather than serving a higher cause. Even if you see them in like charities and things like this, a lot of those people are serving their ego rather than the charity overall. They're doing work for the charity, but I think teams lose out when somebody isn't in it for the dream rather than in it for themselves. And no matter how well you do, if the environment is toxic, and many are, it doesn't matter what you bring to the table. People are going to just adhere to the way they do things mentally and physically. So I made a list of people that I don't work well with. People who are impatient. When you first work with me, I might seem slow. I take my time and I refuse to rush, no matter who's in charge or how the group around me feels. But this has allowed me to, at times, put out twice the productivity of 1 or even 2 people. I've outperformed 2 people by quite a bit, many times in different jobs. I eventually make less mistakes than them as well. I get really accurate with my job, which actually helps with the productivity, right? For me, slow is smooth and smooth is fast. Even when I'm learning, it's like that. And this drives impatient people crazy. And there are a lot of impatient people out there in the world. I don't work well with impatient people, no matter what their excuse. I don't work well with people who want me to change. Again, rushing as an example. I'm not going to rush around for any boss or any group. I've been told you're great, but you have no sense of urgency. What I hear is, though I'm outperforming everyone, I should start to rush around frantically like them and potentially make as many mistakes as them. I try to explain to people that if I work like them, I'm going to perform like them. I can't do that. Just for my own state of mind, I can't be rushing around making mistakes, and it doesn't make me feel good. I work in construction. If I make mistakes and the client pays for it, and if I make too many mistakes, I pay for it, right? People who underestimate me. I find my unassuming nature causes people to underestimate me, and maybe this is my fault. I haven't figured out a way to keep this from happening, other than to demonstrate exceptional performance. And many times I think people pretend to underestimate me in order to keep me from the compensation, for my full value. And this can become a group issue when you're surrounded by people, even if those people have ability, but they've accepted being underestimated. They aim low and they have no self-confidence. And a team that underestimates themselves perpetuates that, and are thrown off if you come in and you don't underestimate your ability or what you should be compensated, and it makes everybody nervous. People who don't underestimate me and do undercompensate me. That's people who recognize my value and hope that I don't. They try to figure out how to compensate me just enough to keep me around. And these people really seem to be intimidated by anybody of ability. Maybe they feel the person's going to take their spot or something like that. And they're used to being able to take advantage of people and just hoping nobody gets wise. And this is another group think. And with a weak team, even if everybody on the team understands your value, you're not going to have anybody willing to step up and go to bat for you. People who try to paint me into a corner. I really dislike this one, and this actually really pisses people off. These people, no matter how far above and beyond you go, they're always trying to find a way for you to owe them. They recognize your contribution, yet don't recognize how to relate to you in a way that is mutually beneficial. They want control over you and will go pretty low to achieve that. These are another set of people who get intimidated really easily. People who don't believe in themselves. Believe it or not, there are leaders who don't believe in themselves. Plenty of them. True belief in oneself is rare. There are also highly skilled individuals on a team who don't believe in themselves. People who don't believe in themselves won't be able to believe in you. People who don't believe in themselves yet do believe in you will get scared when you outperform them or bring challenges to the arena. Their anxiety over challenge will be blamed on you. People who don't have a plan. People who don't have a plan when you show up. They're unorganized and stressed out, and this can't help but pour out to the people around them. Disorganized people leave a mental and physical clutter everywhere, and everyone around them can't help but trip over it or get caught up in the mess. I remain detached and try to stay as organized as possible, but unorganized people have a story to adhere to, and if anyone comes around and challenges that storyline by trying to be organized, you're going to meet resistance, even if the organizing proves beneficial. People who don't let me think for myself. You ever have that incident where someone is telling you to do something that you're already doing, and so you get confused and you look kind of foolish? Or have you ever been doing something and it's working right, and to have somebody come along and be adamant that you do it differently? Or have you ever been doing something the way you were told by that person, but they have such a strong need to tell you what to do that they have to change the way you're doing it now, because they have to speak. They have to say something. Or have you ever had someone demand you continue to do something that isn't working and been reprimanded for attempting something different? These are the people that I don't work well with. I think lots of high output performers might have these problems. If you can relate, hit the like button. If you can relate and you know someone else that can relate, share this with them. And subscribe. Maybe you'll find some things that you can relate to further down the road. Thank you for watching. I am Coach Brian Spears at Northwest Elite Spirit. Have a good evening.